Welcome to Residential Tech Talks. I'm Jeremy Glowacki, Executive Editor of Residential Tech Today. This week, Chris Lehnen returns to the podcast from his home in Portland, Oregon, after his fairly recent hiring as Business Development Manager, AV, for lighting manufacturer Luminii. Chris last joined us about a year ago this time when he was with iRoom IO, the Apple certified manufacturer of premium iPad docking solutions. Today, we'll talk about his new role in a completely different category and get his take on the exciting opportunities in architectural LED lighting for the custom integration channel. Chris Lehnen, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. It's good to be back.
And I didn't confirm before we started talking that you are, in fact, in Portland. I usually do that because folks are on the road these days. You are actually there in Portland?
I am, and just like the last time we talked, it's raining like crazy. We did manage to eke out a really nice summer, but here we are. It's over.
Well, it wouldn't be Portland without some rain. That's about what I expect to hear from you there. And I'm in the Midwest, so we can't talk too much about that kind of weather either. Although today it's a nice sunny fall day, and I'm going to take it for as long as I can before we get in that gray, bleak winter time.
Yeah, good luck with that.
yeah, totally. Well, it's great to have you back, and it's exciting to talk about a fairly new brand to me in a category that's just really on fire as far as the custom integration channel is concerned. And it's still very new days talking about lighting, but then again, there are those who have been doing it for a while as well. But before we dive into the new opportunities and the new company for you, I just wanted to touch on iRoom a bit because, you were really pretty much known in our channel as the guy at iRoom IO for recent years, at least. We know you have a bit longer history and more diverse history than that. But
Sure.
tell us about how that sort of change occurred as far as the U.S. Representation. Obviously, it affected you personally. Company didn't go away in Austria, but maybe what you can tell us about why they closed the U.S. offices.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the final straw was the war in Ukraine. Of course, the company is headquartered in Europe, and honestly, we had a tough go of it through the pandemic. We didn't get the uptake that we were hoping to get. And so, when the war started in Ukraine, Europeans just knew that their economy was going to get tough. And so, to save money, they decided to close our office, which is a respectable decision. Can't really argue with that. They were super fair, took care of us for at least a few months. And the product is still available. If anybody has something sold or needs to access or get service, then I'm welcome to help facilitate that.
Well, that's great to know that you're still in good terms with them, and obviously their website's still active and they are selling. It just maybe a little harder to get the product shipped and delivered, and it may cost you a little bit more because of the shipping, which is
True.
understandable. But let's switch to the current situation for you. So you landed on your feet very well with a great category in lighting, one of the hottest
Yep.
categories in our channel. Although a lot of room for growth there because there are some companies that are just now starting to get into it. So let's maybe just talk how you connected with Luminii, what you liked about the company from the outside looking in, and then we can get into what you've learned as you've gotten your feet wet there.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I found out my job was going away with iRoom, I had a little time to think about what I wanted to do. And obviously, lighting is a hot category in the channel. And so it gave me a chance to start talking with lighting companies and kind of went through the usual suspects with the brands that are already established in the channel. And just, between timing or not a good fit or whatever, kind of went through them and dug a little deeper and found Luminii, which is a really well-established brand in the commercial world. They got started in 2010. They are one of the pioneers in the LED strip lighting category and have a really impressive manufacturing facility in the Chicago area. And so they had already piloted a couple of markets here in the U.S. on the residential side. So we're established in the Tola, Texas territory as well as Florida, and that's gone really well for them the last couple of years. And so the timing was just really good. I reached out to a couple of people. They were planning on bringing somebody on board anyway, and it was just a little bit early, and that gave me a chance to study up and learn about lighting in general. It's a brand new category for me, and it's definitely going to be an adventure of a learning experience for sure.
Yeah. So your role then is business development manager AV, meaning I guess probably the category is, I mean, the industry, AV industry, right? So that's what the AV portion of that means. So
Hmm.
you're evangelizing to the CI channel. Is that basically it for the company?
Yeah, exactly. In the lighting world, the guys that do controls are considered AV guys.
Yeah.
And so I'm managing the AV channel since that's where my experience and relationships are.
Yeah.
And so we're getting ready to launch the Luminii Home brand, which is focused on the residential channel. And we've curated a mix of products that is really the right products for residential integrators. And we're also building tools to help sell and educate and facilitate the sales for the dealers that we've worked with forever.
Well, that's great to hear. One of the things I've heard over my, I guess, past couple of years of understanding the lighting category as it relates to the custom integration channel is how you do need to kind of fine tune that catalog of products, because what may be available to a distributor for commercial lighting, or just lighting specific contractors is a very broad line, and it's like names
Right.
you can't even keep track of sometimes because they're numbers and weird stuff. Like it
Oh
takes
yeah.
like what a TV manufacturer does with branding and goes beyond that. And so you've got to really kind of hone it down to what really would work with someone who's maybe first time in the category on the residential side, right? So what kinds of products then do you kind of focus on to make it a better fit on the residential side?
Well, the standard product at Luminii is strip and linear fixtures.
Right.
You can buy raw strip and channel from a lot of people out there. I'd say that the advantage with us is we have been doing it for as long as anybody, and so the quality and the output, and the quality control especially is super high. Our CRIs and R9s are in the high 90s, and so we've got a huge variety of strip that can go into many of our different fixtures. And we don't call it custom; we call it highly modifiable. And so, if you need a custom or highly modifiable fixture built, then we do that there in Niles, Illinois, and ship out with documentation and diagrams and things like that to make it easier for the integrator.
So, being in the U.S. in Illinois, I know that saying senior manufacturing in the U.S. is always kind of loaded because there are pieces that still need to come from
Yeah.
Asia. Typically, is that the case with these linear lighting products as well? That there's still some challenges there with supply chain, or how much of it does really get done here in the U.S.?
The strip itself is manufactured in Asia, and then that's managed by us. We've actually got people over there that make sure that it holds up to our quality standards. And then all the parts are shipped to, when it comes to linear fixtures, to Illinois to be built there on demand, basically as orders come in. We've also got some sister companies. We've got Senso that's up in Canada, and then we've got RCL and Precision that are based over in the UK, as well as a company called iLight that is in Tennessee.
Oh, great. Okay. And if we could kind of backtrack just a little bit on the CRI and R9 reference, and these are terms that I'm learning myself, and I just, as I simplify my brain, as I hear things, it's like, okay, that's a quality reference, and it's a color of lighting reference, and then I kind of forget what it really means, like because I don't deal with it day to day. Can you explain that terminology for those who are just getting into lighting that may not know what you're looking for with CRI and R9?
Sure. So CRI is color rendering index, and so you've got your standard when it comes to each of the different colors, and it's basically how close to that standard you come. And there's some room for error there, and when you say that it's in the high 90s, you're close to 100%.
Okay. All right.
And the R9 reference has to do with red. Red is the hardest color to get accurate, and we do it really well. I think there's a few others that do also.
Yeah, and so then, as far as the product line goes, you have obviously linear lighting, which is a very important and a good, probably transitional choice for an integrator who's not really in lighting yet. Would you say that's? I know I always hear that outdoor lighting is a great place to start for some, because it's a easier thing to sort of set up, and you're dealing with low voltage. But within the home itself, that there's a great way to put in accent lighting that's linear, that may be less of an intrusion on the existing electrician's role with can lighting and that type of thing.
Right.
So, are you finding that in your early days with the company that it is kind of like a great transitional choice for someone who's first getting into lighting?
I think most integrators out there um, are upgrading the can lighting. So the electrician, basically designed in some basic cans, and for those that are partnered with one of the great downlight companies here in the industry, it's pretty easy to upgrade that and still keep the electrician happy, but provide better quality light for the end user, and especially when it comes to controllability, to be able to control those can lights and get it to dim down without flicker and things like that. In my recent meetings, I'm meeting with people that are now comfortable doing downlights, and they feel good about it, and they also recognize that they're leaving money on the table when it comes to linear,
Hmm.
and so they just need to go out and have some good experiences. We developed on our Luminii home site, we developed a site that can be used as a sales tool. And so there are vignettes that the dealer can use to talk about particular rooms and different lighting ideas, that just helps them present it and at least get to a yes or no. We also have developed some design guides that are on our site that enable the dealer to dig deeper. Say you're talking about shelf lighting with a collection of whatever, and you can talk about front lighting, back lighting, up lighting, down lighting, all kinds of different things. And we help make that conversation easy for the dealer. Once they can get to a yes or no, when it comes to linear, whether it's just in a kitchen or a cove or some shelving, then we'll help facilitate, getting the system quoted and carried out.
Well, after the break, we will continue our conversation with Chris Lehnen.
Do you want superior smart home automation at a great value? Shelly Wi-Fi relays by Alterco Robotics cover DC to line voltage, allowing you to control lights, outlets, appliances, garage doors, pumps, and much more. There are Shelly sensors and power measurement devices to help you measure temperature, humidity, lux, or motion, and electrical consumption from single wire to 3-phase with neutral. You can use Shelly with a licensed driver for Control 4, Elon, or other premium systems, as well as your customer's existing hub, voice assistant, or any platform that accepts REST, MQTT, or CoAP. Shelly can make IoT very easy. Available now at Blackwire, City Electric Supply, and Worthington, or at shellyusa.com.
Welcome back. We're talking with Chris Lehnen, Business Development Manager AV for the architectural LED lighting manufacturer Luminii. And Chris, you were doing a great job of explaining some of the sort of supplemental materials, training materials that you're working on, and sales materials, I suppose, for the custom integration channel. What else do you plan on doing there in terms of just training the channel? It sounds like you're working with some established integrators who understand the space, and maybe just getting into the linear and explaining the benefits of Luminii, and giving them some design ideas. Other thoughts on what you can provide to just kind of help prime the pump there for the channel and getting comfortable in the category?
Yeah, absolutely. As far as education goes, we will be out there in 2023 at various events, helping people get into the category or just helping them get better. In addition to that, we're working on configuration tools that can help dealers, kind of get to that 16-digit part number simply, as well as adding more people on the inside to, just to help people pre and post sale and things like that. In addition, we've partnered with a lighting design firm that will enable us to offer design services to dealers. And so, a lot of them don't have the resource for that, or they just don't know how to go and find the right designer. And our program will be pretty cool. We'll basically charge for the design, and then once the sale goes through and the dealer purchases the product, we'll give them 50% credit. So we're partnering with them on that design fee.
And when a company is working in linear, you talk about the quality control there. What is it that an integration company would look for specific to linear, we'll say, because this is what you're dealing with, that, obviously you're going to say choose Luminii, but what brings Luminii to the top in terms of the specifics of that part of the category? Would you say is it the color and red levels aspect to it? Is the veteran being a company founded in 2010 with the experience? I would say having someone like you that they can contact directly would be very useful, because that when you're new in a category, you definitely want someone you can call if you're confused about something. So if I asked you what are some of the things that an integrator should be looking for in the linear lighting category that maybe we haven't touched on, is there anything that I haven't said?
I think the biggest advantage for integrators is controllability. If the electrician specifies linear lighting that's just whatever they could find from the warehouse, then is it going to dim all the way down to zero, and and not flicker and perform as expected from the end user? That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. And so you hear a lot about warm dim, and is that kind of what you're talking about there? Being able to dim down to a level that looks like normal to the eye?
Yeah, to where it dims down without flickering, and it dims down all the way to zero. That's the biggest reason why integrators are now getting into fixture sales, so that they can be more in control of what's sold and what's being controlled.
Are there any technical challenges when you're first getting into the linear, specifically in terms of specifying how things are controlled from a distance? Or this is where my ignorance comes in, because I don't really even know how to frame the question as well as I should. But I know that when I first did years ago, I put some linear strip lighting in my home theater, early days, right? And you had to basically put in some, for lack of a better term, some amplification to get from the power source to the lights. And
Right.
I screwed it up. Like, I didn't get it done right. And so I basically had some dead lights on in my side panels. There's acoustic panels that were going to light up like a cheap limo. Like this was early days. It was not going to look good. It's probably better off that I didn't get it done right.
Yeah, that's right.
So there's some technical things you have to be able to understand, right, to make sure that you have the right power for everything to work properly in linear.
Absolutely. The length of the wire definitely makes a difference. The gauge of the wire makes a difference. The placement of the driver or power supply makes a difference. And so, you have to have a little knowledge to figure all that out. And we're here to help. Our reps are here to help with getting all that figured out so that it installs correctly and works correctly.
And so as we kind of wrap up with what folks are going to need to know, we're going to see some good new information about the residential products that are coming out, your home products, and that'll be on the website. But as far as what their first step, if they haven't worked with Luminii before, are they working directly with you? Do they want to reach out to you and establish that kind of line of communication? What's a good first step for a integrator who's working with you for the first time?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Definitely, I'm here to help directly, and my personal email is clehnen@luminii with 2i's.com, or we've got a general email box which is av@luminii.com.
Great. And then you've got you said reps out in the field as well throughout the regions of the country?
Yeah, so far there's 2 territories that are set up. We're getting ready to engage a couple of additional territories. We're going to try to do a couple at a time just so that we can get the reps trained up and get out and see the right dealers and start doing training sessions as I mentioned earlier. In early 2023, and we'll be involved in some of the events that are based a lot around lighting and of course CEDIA next year.
Great, Chris. It's really great to see you land in a great opportunity like Luminii, and in such a fun category that we're all learning about, and you can help that educational process take place as well. And familiar faces with companies that we maybe are new to are always a good thing in the channel. And it's been great catching up with you and talking to you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Much appreciated, Jeremy.
Chris Lehnen is Business Development Manager AV for architectural LED lighting manufacturer Luminii. You can learn more about Luminii at luminii.com. And that wraps up today's show. If you're new to Residential Tech Talks, please subscribe to their weekly podcast on your preferred platform and consider rating or reviewing us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, check out all the latest residential tech news at the magazine's website, restechtoday.com, where you can also subscribe to the print or digital magazine and to our Friday and Tuesday email newsletters. Until next time, please stay safe, stay inspired, and let us know if you have a great story to tell.
Residential Tech Talk, lighting specialist to architects, to home automation, smart device, home or smart house.